Thank you, Michelle, and it's good to see you. It's good to see you, Anna, and Lex, of course. You took most of my talking points, both of you. But something that Lex said struck me a little bit. The idea that this is a legacy tour. It is important to recognize milestones. It is important to recognize the huge role that the city of Houston played in the ADA, but a legacy tour sounds a little bit like, oh, we're done. And I don't know we're not, and we're not done, and nobody needs to think that we are. And so we have to continue to put the message out that 25 years has shown us great progress, but there is so much more that can happen that needs to be done. And the fact that we are in what is officially the most diverse city in the United States, and we recognize that the diversity of Houston isn't just in national origin or race and ethnicity, but the amazing range of different factors that characterize the human family is important. And so thank you, Michelle, for mentioning the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance. And I'm very proud that we were able to pass that, and hopefully we won't have to defend it in November, but if we do, we will, of course, do that. But we will. This isn't just about providing physical access to those with different abilities, though, here in Houston. It is about creating a culture that is open and welcoming to everyone and provides opportunities to everyone. Why does someone come to a big city? You come to a big city for things you can't find anywhere else. So things like the Real Abilities Film Festival, which we've had 2, we're going to continue. Next year we're going to do it again, correct? Next February again. Those are the kind of things. It's not, the physical access is absolutely critical, but being able to feel intellectually and emotionally part of the city, in my view, is just as important. And that's why things like the Real Abilities Film Festival are really cool. And the city of Houston wants to continue to partner in activities like that. By saying that while we have a great legacy under the ADA, we're not done yet, I want to point out the work that Jay Steitley, who's doing out there. Raise your hand, Jay, out here in the middle. Thank you so much for moving across country and agreeing to take on the role of director of the mayor's office for people with disabilities. The city of Houston remains committed to having someone in office at City Hall on the public payroll whose job it is to advocate for the entire community. That is important. Again, we have a legacy, but we have a future, and Jay is part of that future. And I want everybody who hasn't met him to give him a round of applause and thank him for what he does as a city staffer and his commitment. I did another really cool thing this week. Yesterday, I did the ribbon cutting for what is called Dillon Park. It is our 7th fully accessible park for all in the city of Houston. And I would encourage you to visit Dillon Park. I mean, we have some nice, fully accessible parks. This one has to be the most beautiful. It is the largest. It has amazing art, and it's just fun. It happens to be next door to the largest skateboard park in the United States. It'll open in just a couple of weeks, but the fully accessible playground was already ready to go, and we didn't want our kids to have to wait any longer for that playground. And so the City of Houston continues to find ways to integrate the entire community together. And I'll say something that I've said before. When people started talking to me about parks and playgrounds and wanting to see more fully accessible playgrounds like Dillon Park, I was thinking about places for kids to play who might have different abilities. But I am reminded, and it's important to send this message out to the community, that this is also a place for parents who may be in wheelchairs or with different abilities to come with their fully able kids to interact. The City of Houston, because of its Texas Medical Center, has a very large population here in the Houston area with severe disabilities, and that population is growing, particularly in the area of traumatic brain injury, because we have one of the largest veterans populations in the United States. And that combination of having the large VA here, having worldwide expertise in TBH, and having a large population of veterans means that that group in our community is going to grow. So we need to find more and more opportunities, as I said, for disabled adults to be able to interact with their kids, their grandkids, and seeing people out on that. Okay, it was hot as heck yesterday, but seeing kids of all ages out in that beautiful playground yesterday was phenomenal. And I would invite you to visit Dillon Park and continue to advocate for more similar playgrounds across the city. Now, I do have a proclamation. And I'm not going to read the proclamation, lucky for y'all, because it has a lot of the stuff that both Michelle and Lex talked about. But the proclamation acknowledges that the City of Houston has had a role in creating the formal protections, the formal legislation that allows more full and complete access to the elements of public society here in the United States through the Americans with Disabilities Act. It acknowledges the role of President George H.W. Bush, and it acknowledges the role of Lex Frieden. It acknowledges the fact that for 35 years, Houston has held a Houston Abilities Expo long before the ADA to bring people together to show what is possible. Therefore, and let me, as an aside, point out that I don't in any way believe that when President Bush 41 signed the Americans with Disabilities Act, he would know that one day he too would be benefiting from the Americans with Disabilities Act. And if you don't know, President Bush has been largely wheelchair bound for several years now. So, therefore I, Annise D. Parker, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proclaim July 25th, 2014 as Americans with Disabilities Act Legacy Tour Day in the City of Houston. And Lex, may I present this to you?